Morning and welcome to the Workplace TV show on Lagoonradio. My name is Lauren Sitoro. I want to officially welcome you to the Workplace TV show on Lagoonradio. Happy new day, happy new Wednesday, and I'm sure that you're enjoying, the best of the day. A new month has started. Last week I talked about us, having a rethink or having to plan the month is the second half of the year, and it's important that your plans are in line with the year. What do you have for the year, and if they are not in line, can you go back to the drawing board? I talked about that last week. Today is the 14th day of July 2021. I am very excited to be in the studio. 5 minutes just walked past the hour of 11 in the studio, Lagoon FM. And it's important I let you know that every Wednesday the Workplace Series show comes up. And if you're asking me what exactly is the Workplace Series show, the Workplace Series show is a show that talks about the workplace generally, strictly workplace, what happens between the 9 to 5 hour, what happens even after 5 p.m. We are concerned about, the employer, the employee, the client. We are concerned about everyone that works in the workplace. Anywhere can be your workplace. We are also concerned about those that work in the restaurants, supermarkets. We are not restricted to the corporate world, and that is why we have a topic today. I'll disclose that after the short break, but I want you to stay close to Lagoonradio. Tell your friend, tell your CEO, tell your HR managers, your employee, your colleagues, that it's time for the Workplace Series show. We say it as it is on the Workplace Series show every Wednesday 11 a.m. We invite guests, and interestingly, I have a guest in the studio, but of course I'll tell you all about him when I come back from the short break. Follow us on all our social media platform, Lagoon Radio NG, on Instagram, Lagoon Radio Nigeria, on Facebook, join the conversation. And when I come back from this break, I'll disclose to you what our topic is, and of course I'll review our guests in the studio. My name is Lauren Sito. Stay close to Lagoon Radio, stay close to the Workplace Series show. I'll be right back after the short break.
A child in the distance, playing in the rain, the sweet sound of water flowing away, a construction worker coming home from work, two parents and their children going to church, a happy little baby rolls on your shirt. What an extraordinary day. Let us have a world of ordinary people living life the way God wants us to. And if we have a world of ordinary people, extraordinary things will happen to me and you. Just a man, but he'd kill his son for the price of a lamb. And let us consider ordinary Job, who lost it all, but in God had his hope. Now ordinary David, a little shepherd boy, brought down Goliath with a stone and a toy. 'cause no single leader is worth dying for. No ordinary mother will cry herself to sleep, 'cause no ordinary father will come home after 3 a.m. that is. So let us have a world of ordinary people living life the way God wants us to. And if we have a world of ordinary people, extraordinary things.
This, you are listening to Lagoon Radio.
You're welcome back to the Workplace Series show on Lagoonradio. You know, when the song by Cobham's Ordinary People was playing, you know, during the break, something came to my spirit, and, you know, I have to say it. I was, you know, just imagining, you know, a workplace where people are happy to go to work every day. They are fulfilling purpose. They are happy. They are healthy. They are earning without stress, with convenience. I imagine that kind of workplace in Nigeria, even outside Nigeria. I've always dreamed to see that kind of workplace. You know, everyone cannot be an entrepreneur. Everyone cannot be an employer. But of course, we have employees in the workplace. And there are some people in the workplace that are doing exceptionally well. Can we have more people doing exceptionally well in the workplace, where you'll be looking, you know, every day to, you know, to go to work? I know some people that their workplace is where they find fulfillment, and their workplace is where, or their workplaces, that's where they find fulfillment, and that's where they are happy. You know, we spend hours in the workplace. I said it last week. We spend 9 to 10 hours in the workplace every single day. For those that are working, you know, that are still going to their offices, and for us that are working remotely, we spend hours, you know, talking to people, talking to our bosses, talking to our employers, and talking to even people that we have not seen. Imagine that we are happy doing this thing. Imagine that we are happy earning with, you know, without stress. Can it really, really happen? Okay, of course, before I'll love my guests to answer that question. Today's topic is clients employees relationship. How possible is that in the workplace? Is it realistic? Is it something that we can do? Are there policies already in the workplace that restrict you from having a personal relationship with your client? What is your workplace talking about when it concerns employers and employees? Of course, clients relationship. I'll talk about that today. That's our topic. And before I say anything, I would like to officially welcome my guest in the studio, Basi Daniels. Basi Daniels, how are you doing?
Hello, good morning, IT. Thank you for having me once again. Good morning, listeners. It's nice to be here. We hope we had fun. We have fun today.
Okay, Basi Daniel is a brand communicator and a story writer. You know, the workplace series actually brought us together, and after he came to the show last year, this is the second time I've seen him, you know, in 2 years. I want to thank God for the workplace series. Of course, is one of the is what brings us together, of course, and I'm grateful for that. Pastor Daniels, I want to ask you, before we go into the topic proper, I want to ask you, how has the COVID-19 been? You know, the last time I saw you was in June. I can't remember.
Yeah, almost a year now.
Yes.
Shortly after the lockdown.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
How was, you know, how were you able to, you know, thrive? How were you able to working remotely? What were the challenges you faced during the lockdown, coping with work and, you know, your client?
Okay, so I think it's different stroke for different folks. For me, I do not want to sound insensitive, but I want to. I'm grateful for the lockdown because the lockdown was a major turnaround for me and my career. and that's why I'm excited about this topic. The topic we had last year and the one we're having today. It's why I'm passionate about it. When you see the way I talk, I'm so passionate about it. Before the lockdown, it's almost like I was trapped at a particular place called a workplace, and then the lockdown happened, and I had to rethink and ask myself what exactly I want to do with my career. And the lockdown played a major, when nobody was moving, you have to think. You're
Yes.
not doing anything, right?
Of course.
And so, yeah, I'm grateful for the lockdown. Yeah.
Of course, I'm also grateful for the lockdown. Those, one of the things we did for the workplace series was to report on the streets of Lagos, and we dwelled on different sectors of the economy, and we knew how these things, staying at home and the changes, how it affected the workplace. And one of the changes I'm enjoying now is working remotely.
Yeah.
Someone sent a job vacancy to me, and I was asking the person, is it a remote job or is he have to come to the office? And he said, is you have to come to the office kind of job. And I said, see, let me tell you the truth. Most people prefer a remote job now. If you only let it be flexible, you really enjoy it. Even the people that are working with you will enjoy working with you remotely, because of course, one of the changes of the workplace. What can we do? Okay, today's topic, client employees relationship. Before I go on, I would like to say that we are streaming live on Facebook, Lagoonradio Nigeria, and our YouTube channel, LagoonTV. It's important that you follow us, enjoy the conversation. We are talking about you. We are talking about everyone, in the workplace. So, my friend, client employees relationship. Okay, let me say this. Vasi Daniel was here last year, and we had the show, and I couldn't. There's no word to use to describe the show. I still said it on my status. That is one of the best shows I had or the workplace series show had in 2020.
Aww.
And today we are inviting you again to share your knowledge and your wisdom. I know you are more than enough to just share your impact with us. So let's talk about client employees relationship. I have a story. I have a report. I'll say that after doing the report section.
Okay.
Since the time we had this conversation last year till today, I asked you a question last year about the future of the workplace when it relates to client employees. Have you really had any changes? Did you record anything that you said that took place during that time and today?
Yes, personally, I think relationships, irrespective of if it's work or anything, has a lot to do with the personalities in play, right? I've experienced so much progress when it comes to workplace relationship to start with. You asked earlier how the lockdown has affected my career. So now I have opportunity to work with different brands, right? And I've had a share of what different clients can be, and it boils down to personalities. You have to understand that who you're dealing with is a human being, deserves to be respected. For me, the golden rule comes to play. How would you have loved to be addressed if the tables were to be turned? So I have clients who would talk to you anyhow, just because they feel like they are paying you, and so they deserve the right to throw words at you, right? And I have clients who talk to you with respect because they understand that irrespective of how much they are paying you, that is still not your worth, right? And then I am here at the other side who understands my worth, how I would like to be treated, and how I would respond to this thing. So at the end of the day, after all has been said and done, after all the English, that we say, everything boils down to personality, individuals, how people react, how people treat people, how people think people should be treated.
Perfect. When I put out the flyer for today's show, someone reach out to me. I shared that with
Yeah.
you. Someone reach out to me and say, Ichiro, my boss needs to see this, needs to listen to the show. I said, okay, there's nothing much I can do. Just tell your boss to listen to the show.
Yeah,
You can
listen
listen
in.
via our website, www.lagoonradio.ng. Of course, you can download our app on Google Play Store and, have opportunity to listen to all the shows on Lagoon Radio. When I put out the post also, a lot of people think, okay, what exactly do you intend, passing out? Client, employees, relationship. People are looking at the other part of relationship, maybe sexual relationship, which is not what exactly we are looking at, fully. We are looking at normal relationship. There are some policies in the workplace that state that you should not receive gifts from your
From
clients. Yes, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. It's based on just business. In a situation where that there are no policies, how do you as an employee manage relationship with a client, your company, not your own personal clients, of course, your company's clients? What is exactly the right relationship for an employee and a client in the workplace?
The workplace. All right. So, it starts with you understanding what the policies are. You've got to respect policies. I think there's a lot of people not respecting authority in this part of the world, or people thinking they can get away with breaking rules and all that. And then there's entitlement mentality, like shebi I just did it, shebi it's just this and that, and it is wrong. Before you came in, there were rules. If you wouldn't live by them, don't stay. I've had clients reach out to me, or brands reach out to me to work with them, and they put out the rules out there, and I had to weigh it. As much as I needed the money, I needed to my integrity. People do not value integrity. All right, so there's a rule that says do not do this with a client, and you go ahead to break them because you think it's small. No, it is not. It is important. I used to ask myself that by the time I start, because I hope that I'll get to a place as a brand that I start employing people. If I start employing people and I put out rules and my staff break the rules, how would I react? Would I be happy? The answer is definitely no. Why should I do that as a staff, right? So if there's a rule that says this is how we want you to relate with our clients, stick by them. If there's any reason why you should break the rule, communicate. All right. So I am not expected to accept gifts, and there's probably reason whatever for me to accept gifts, either before or after. Can I communicate before my boss or my supervisor realizes him or herself? There's also a place of common sense. You wouldn't like this. You don't like this to be done if you were the boss, right? So,
okay, in a situation where there is no policy, we are looking at a typical workplace in Nigeria, and that most of the things, you agree with me that most of the things that we talk about in Nigeria or in the workplaces are word of mouth.
yeah,
Most of them are not documented.
true.
So in such a situation where you don't have policies, you don't have a written document to state that, okay, this is how I want you to deal with my clients. In that situation, as an employee, how do you still apply the common sense? That's common sense is not really common for some people. But in that situation, let's just leave that common sense out of it. In that kind of situation, how do you, because written documents are like guidelines for you, but in that situation, how do you relate to a client?
If we are being honest, I think it still boils down to common sense. Honestly, it boils down to common sense a lot, and this is it for me. In places where there are no written laws or written documents as to how this or that should be done, you would have noticed body language. You would have seen how bosses react to. Okay, so in my previous place of work, where I worked full time, there were a lot of things that were not written, but we saw how supervisors or how bosses reacted when these things are done. You already, so it's like it's already a norm or what is expected. It is said or done. I think people just want to get away with things. The entitlement thing, right? So yes, it is not written, which means that by law nobody should hold you. But then, if you have a mentality where you like to respect people, that would guide how you behave. So respect for me necessarily is not that you kneel down or prostrate to greet me. I really do not care if you prostrate or if you call me by a title or not. I am particular about how you treat me. So you notice that I do not like this, irrespective of the relationship at all, work, love, whatever. You realize I do not like this to be done to me. You either I say it or not, but you've noticed. Why do it, right? So yeah, it's not written, but you notice it is how it's you notice from the body language. If you have to do it, ask for permission, communicate, right? Don't just do it and throw caution today and expect that people will understand. No, I am not in the workplace. If I'm your boss, I didn't employ you to understand. I employ you to get work done in a particular way. If you cannot, you probably should get out of the place.
What are the expectations of employers in Nigeria? And of course, what are the expectations of employees in Nigeria? What of the clients? We are so concerned about that. And that is why the Workplace Series show is on Lagoonradio. If you're here to listen or you're just listening and you've not called your CEO, your HR, your colleague, it's important you do that. I have a question to ask Mr. Bassi, but I'll do that after the short break. Stay close to Lagoonradio. Stay close to the Workplace Series show. I'll be right back after the short break.
Jerusalem, ikayalami. Jerusalem, ikayalami. Ilondoloze, uhambe nami. Zungangishilana, dawo yami, ayikholana. Buso wami, awukholana. Ilondoloze, dawo yami ayikholana, buso wami awukholana. Ilondoloze, zuhambe nami. Ilondoloze, 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 zungangishilana. Dawo yami ayikholana, buso wami awukholana. Ilondoloze, zuhambe nami. Dawo yami.
You're welcome back to the Workplace Series show on Lagoonradio. Hope you're enjoying the show. You know, before I went on that break, I said I was going to ask my guest a question. It's a practical question, but I'll put a hold to that maybe towards the end of the show. You talked about being respectful in the workplace. Are there other qualities as an employee? And let's not forget that, you know, clients are also sometimes our fault in some areas. So what do you have to say? What are the qualities for the employee? We are concerned about the employee because she is in the company. Clients can go, another one can come in. But one of the things you mentioned is respect. What are the other qualities that are needed for an employee to have a good relationship or to balance a relationship between, you know, our employer and the client, so that we'll not have conflict in the workplace?
I think a very important quality, amongst others, of course, is listening. Sometimes we assume that we hear, but most times we do not. And this is what I mean. So you're asking me a question. In my mind, I'm already thinking of what response to give. And there's every tendency I didn't hear the question properly because I'm already thinking of what response to give you. And most times we do that in the workplace. Your boss is giving you an instruction, you're already thinking of a response. I believe that the most effective way to communicate is to listen first. If you listen properly, you will notice that you won't just hear what the person is saying, you would also hear the thoughts, how he or she wants the thing done. You would actually hear the body language. Communication, actually, if we listen, learn to listen, is beyond what the person is saying. If I listen properly, I would hear those undertones.
Yes.
And if I hear those undertones, I would know exactly how to respond. And so it is important to listen both to the employer and to the client. And you see this happen a lot, especially when the business is one that people order in and out. And you see the person the employee, somebody's asking for probably a plate of rice and that, and you miss out something because you were not listening. You think you heard, but you were not. So people do not listen everywhere, not just in the workplace. It's funny, but everywhere people do not listen. So apart from respect and all that, I think listening is a very important skill. And of course, the employer too need to listen when the employee is saying something. So because you want to please the, and I hope we'll come to the part of the client too.
Yes, of course.
But so the employer is actually particular about serving the client, but you must understand that if you want to serve your client well, you also have to listen to your employee because he or she is the middleman, is the one that's standing between you. And so how he reacts to the what's it called now, to your client, goes a long way to tell something about your brand, right? So if you do not listen to him or her to hear his own pain, because you employ him because you think he's smart, you think he can recommend, he can say one or two things. So listen, please, right? Listen.
Okay.
He's the one on the field.
We shouldn't go far. Let me just ask you this question. Now we are talking about. Now I want to put the employer now into this space. You know, we were talking about just the client and the employee. Now I want to bring the employer. You know, they always say the employee are the brand of the company. They are the ambassadors. As an employer, what's the English to use? How do you balance this thing from the client and the employee? You know, when it comes to, my employer loves our clients, which is a good thing because they bring in the money. What of the person? How do you balance that relationship between your clients and the employee in a situation where there's transaction, where there is, when it involves money and you want to be extra careful? How do you do that? Having in mind that you need to satisfy your employee, you have to, advise the employee in the right way so that she can transmit that information, to the clients. At the end of the day, the client makes the payment. How do you do this thing together at the same time?
Okay. We also need to be considerate. It's important for us to be considerate. I'll give a scenario. So one day I woke up at around 6 a.m. I think. Can't remember. I woke up very early anyway, and I noticed that I'd missed for whatever reason. Okay, I put on my data, and I saw that somebody had bombarded me with, I think, 10 messages. And I slept at around 11 p.m. That was pretty late, right? Funny story, I opened my message, and I saw that this guy had sent me a message around 12, 1, 2,
Didn't
like
sleep.
that. And what was it? He wanted to inquire about something, one of our services, and he kept bombarding, and
Wait.
messages were something like,
I
"Guy,
want to
answer
ask
now."
a question.
Yeah,
Was it outside Nigeria?
It was in Nigeria, definitely. And the question, so at the point he got offensive and goes with guy answer now, get thing to do, things like that. And I'm like, I was angry. This is my me time, right? But I was also careful because I knew what I might get myself into, because if my boss heard it, he might get angry. And that was one issue I had. No matter how much you're paying me, I have a life, right? You should respect that. You should respect my me time. I'm supposed to close at 5 p.m. Whatever happens between then and when I resume, it's my life, right? So if I decide to attend to a client within that time, I should even be, I should be appreciated for that, right? So employers should also be considerate. Yeah, see, sometimes employees do not understand that employers are trying to gain profit, some employees do not understand that, which is understandable, but also employers don't understand that employees have a life of their own outside the workplace. They want to be treated in a particular way. They want to be respected. They want to be valued. So you should not throw your employee under the bus at the risk of wanting to satisfy your client, right? At the risk of wanting to satisfy your. So you need to think of their ego, if that's the right word I'm looking for. Do you understand? Yeah. So value, we I think we do not have a culture of valuing people in this part of the world. You feel like once you're paying them, you own their life. It is a wrong mindset that needs to be worked upon.
What's your story in the workplace? For those that are listening to me, if you have similar issue, it's important you listen to our guests. Our guests have one or two things to say, and of course, I know he has answered your question as he was speaking. But one thing that I'm concerned about, how 5 p.m. is the time we tend to leave, the workplace, for those that are working physically in the, at their different offices. When we resume, the workplace series is designed in a way that we talk about things within that period, 9 to 5, 8 to 5, even after 5 p.m. But situation where a job comes by 5 p.m. and that's your time to go home, and the client is an important client, and you need to deliver. The employer sent you that job. How do you do that in that case? And you have to deliver between that 5 to 7. You just have it in mind that you have closed for today. For the day. Yeah. So how do you do that? What kind of attitude you should, put on? Are you supposed to get the work done or wait till the next day?
Yeah. Okay, so we have a situation already in Nigeria where people... There are no jobs out there, so people are grateful for the jobs they have, and so they want to do anything to keep it. And a lot of employers know this, and they are taking advantage of that. That is very wrong to start with. However, there are situations where see, IT. If we are being honest, right, there are some things that will not be written, but you should do this, right? So your boss sends you a job. It's definitely outside of you, but when you look at it, this is necessary. It's not being inconsiderate. It's not taking advantage. It's an emergency. You have a life of your own, right? But then if it were your business, this needs to be attended to. That being said, like I said earlier, employers also need to not take advantage. If it can wait, I realize that a lot of jobs that are being sent could wait. But people want to take advantage and just take people for granted.
Are you taking your job as your business? My boss once said that if you can treat my business as your business, then we are fine. I go the extra mile, you should go the extra mile, to do things. And what I notice is, yes, employees, most of them don't care. Let me use that. Some of them, I won't say all, that policy of take my business as your business can settle all. in that situation, there are exceptions. I can, do that job.
Sorry, IT, can I cut in a there?
Of course.
If you expect me to take your business as my business, are you treating me well?
That's another part. But
That's-
I want
that's-
to I want
that's
to assume that the employer here is
It's
treating
not
you well.
always true. It is not always true. When you look at my conversations, is that it looks like I'm lashing out on the employees more, but then it is not always true. It's not always true, and it is wrong. So I want to take your business like my business because I love to grow. Like I'm
Yes.
particular about growth, and this is one way I can grow. But are you treating me well? Are you?
Okay,
I mean-
employers, are you listening to that? Are you treating your employees well? But I want to believe some are treating.
Yes, of
I want
course.
to believe, yes.
Some are.
Some are doing fantastic job.
Yes.
And that is why I'll take your job as your business, because I've said it on the show. You cannot love yourself and hate your job. You have to love yourself, because it's that same love you use, you apply to the way you do things in
Yes,
the workplace,
yes.
even in other relationship.
Yeah.
That is why happy person is always happy everywhere. You can't be happy in the workplace that when you come out you'll not be happy in your relationship and so on. For employees that have some of them are angry. There's some employees that are angry. I would not come here on the show to lie to you, and that is why we bring up practical things.
Yeah.
Some employees are very, angry at what is happening. Not the state of the nation, but the state of their workplace. And they use that aggression. Also, the client use that aggression. Maybe I don't know the reason. Maybe the cost of things are high or something. Use the aggression. Everybody is aggressive
Yeah.
in the workplace.
Especially in Lagos.
I was coming today, the traffic situation was something else.
Yeah,
And I
it's
watched
crazy.
someone that left home by 7, getting to the workplace by 11 a.m. How can he or she be productive and at the same time not pass aggression? You must be a superstar
Yeah.
to maintain your cool, in the workplace. But in the situation where an employee is aggressive, client is aggressive, employer is aggressive, how can we help the workplace? Because these three people are they are key stakeholders in the workplace. And our job at the workplace is we are a public relation and communication company. We try to, put that good reputation and balance this relationship. If these three persons are hungry, someone has to calm down for other people to lead. In that situation, what's the solution really? In Lagos.
I can't say that this exactly is what the solution is, but then I think the best way to move forward in conflicts like that is for definitely somebody has to, at least one out of the three people has to step down and all. When we look at the Nigerian scene, it most likely will be the employee, because he's the one that is scared of losing his job.
Yes, of course.
Right? But should that be the case? I don't know. Should he be the one to step down? I can't say. But then, I think the best way to handle conflicts is to think of the other person, understand the angle from which they are coming from, right? For instance, as much as I was mad that this particular person was buzzing my line and even being offensive at it, was it a matter of life and death? No. Could it have waited from the questions?
Yes.
Definitely could. But I just thought that maybe it was a study abroad firm, so it probably was, you wanted answers quickly and all. So I just looked at it from that. That was just the saving grace for me, right? Because I do not like when people are unreasonable. That was an unreasonable situation. So I needed to look for an angle to excuse him. And that was it for me. He just needed to get out of the country.
Oh, that thought, Bassy Daniels. I'd love to go on the short break. And when we come back, we'll talk a little about the clients. We are talking about the employer, the employee now. We want to talk about the client. Everyone is a client. If
Let's
you look
talk
at
about
it.
the clients.
Yes. when I come from the short break, we'll talk about the clients. Stay close
All
to
right.
Lagoon Radio. Stay close to the Workplace Series Show. My name is Lawrence Itoro. I'll be right back.
sunshine and the trees. Jesus, maker of the Lord. Jesus. Ta-da. Summer, winter, autumn, spring, mountains, blue skies, and the seas, rainbows, sunshine, and the trees. You made them. Jesus, the maker of them all. Everywhere I go, I see you right there. In the beauty of nature, you shine all around. For you are everything, and everything is you. Precious Jesus.
You are listening to Lagoon Radio.
You're welcome back to the Workplace Series Show on Lagoonradio. Thank you so much for joining me. I know you've gotten some answers. You've received some answers from most of our conversation today. And before I went on that break, we are talking about the client now. We are all clients to every business. We are customers, if you want to call it that. But how exactly? I know it's your money, clients. I know it's your money. I know you want the work done and you're patronizing us. How are you? There's a way a client needs to. It's not only, rules are not just meant for the employees alone. Right? In a situation where we know that you own the money, without you, let's just establish the facts. Clients, without you, money is not coming into the business. So, but, we are respecting people. We want to respect people. We want to value people. We want to make sure that they are doing, you're bringing the job, you're bringing the money.
Yeah.
How are you supposed to behave? What are the qualities we need to see? What are the things you need to do? What are the things you shouldn't do? And what are the things that you should do for the employee? Because, of course, there are sometimes the employer may not be around. You have to speak to the employee. What kind of relationship is obtainable for you as a client?
I can't wait to say this. Behave like a human being. I mean, treat people like human beings. There's this saying that customers are always right. It is not true. You're not always right, because yes, as humans, we are not always right.
Should we erase that fact now?
Let's erase that fact, please.
Okay.
No one is ever always right, unless you want to play God. All right. So having stated that, imagine that you are a staff in an organization, and somebody walks in and talks to you exactly the way you're talking to me right now. What would be your reaction? I think beyond reading books and
attending seminars,
just listen to yourself talk at times. That's one. Then two, there's also this saying by most Nigerians, or maybe most people, that I love to say things as they are. I love to be blunt. There's nothing wrong with that, except that there's one thing to say things as they are. There is another one. It's another thing to say it like someone that. Is it okay to say someone that has sense on hair? Like really, 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 we really need to listen to. There are really no serious rules about these things, right? Just listen to the way you're talking to someone. Look at how you're acting, how you're. Definitely, if in all honesty, some employees, you walk into an organization and the way an employee treats you, because it's not the owner of the business, it's annoying. Some employees can be annoying. I think the last time I came here, I told a story of a place. I went to fix something, so it was a complex, right? So there's this bed shop. The staff there, two ladies, we didn't know that one of them was pregnant, right? So maybe because of the mood or something, And also, this guy walks in trying to be a gentleman, but this lady was just being annoying. It was obvious. This has nothing to do with if it's a man or not. She was just being rude for whatever reason. I do not know. We do not know. And while it is wrong for you to hit a woman, and this guy could not hold it, and he went out, and that's when we realized that this lady was pregnant, and he could have injured her. But let's say, bring it from the angle of this guy had been cool all along, and you just kept being a rude person, right? So yes, there's the aspect of employees being unreasonable, right? But can you be the human being here? The two of us cannot be unreasonable at the same time, right? So if you decide to be unreasonable, can I be reasonable? Can I be the human being here? Can I be the one that makes sense of the situation here? Somebody just try to be that.
The Workplace Series show, or the Workplace Series in general, is not only particular about the corporate world. Or yes, you've gotten the job, you have the job, congratulations, you are receiving this congratulations, messages, and we are concerned about, now that you are in the job, what happens.
Yeah.
Right. Let me use the word I usually use. It's not always the suit and tie corporate organization we talk about on the show. We talk about everything. There are organizations, there are workplaces making money, supermarkets, they are making money, and there are people that are working there. And when I had my report in 2020, these are things I discovered. And I was like, okay, let's bring the show. Let's talk about the show. Let's make it raw. Let's say it as it is. Last question I would like to ask you. There are some policies that says don't receive gifts. I know some multinationals in Nigeria, you don't receive gift from clients.
Okay.
I know some companies in Nigeria, you don't receive gift from clients. It's a law, it's a policy, right? But in the sense, maybe in a situation where the client wants you to, is still insisting you have this gift. What do you do? Because I love gifts.
I love gifts too. However, it's not your workplace, right?
Say that again.
I said it's not your workplace. You are staff there. Rules are put in place for a reason. For whatever reason, like I said earlier, I'd love to get to a point where I can employ. So maybe when I get there, I'll understand why some organizations would not like their staff to receive gifts from clients and customers. But however, respect what's been there. Refuse it respectfully. Give reasons. I can't, because we do not allow this here. Then is the gift more important than your job?
The job and the gift is important. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Basidalios, for coming to the show. I want to sincerely appreciate you. You are one of those people that, I can say that, you contributed so much to the Workplace Series show. And thank you for all the encouragement. We are here because of the encouragement, every time. I want to thank you so much for coming. For those that are listening to us, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode on the Workplace Series show on LagoonRadio. I would love to have you next week with another guest. And of course, we'll talk about something practical on the Workplace Series show. My name is Lauren Sito. You can reach us on our Instagram page at the Workplace_series, the Workplace Series on Facebook and LinkedIn. Of course, if you want to come to the show, you send us a mail at theworkplace@gmail.com. My name is Lauren Sito. I'll see you next week and have a productive week ahead.
You are listening to Lagoon Radio.